morning. How you doing out there? Today is Monday, Monday morning. What time is it, Tom? You got the clock on you?
It's 10:23.
10:23. Well, we just got back from Old McDonald's Farm for our second coffee. And I was out early this morning, of course, about 6:30 on the road, 6:45. And this is an update on what I was going to do for part 2, which I'll show you on that project for that storage ramp, service ramp, and for the generator. We've got some big changes here, and I'll discuss that in a minute. Yesterday being Sunday, we went to Jewett City. Slim pickings once again. I picked up one of them little claw things that pull out like big heavy tacks and stuff like that. I had one, but it's lost somewhere in the shed. I picked up that for a couple bucks and picked up a couple of books on ancient Egypt. My brother likes that stuff, he always did. Or anything history, actually. Anything to do with history he likes. A buck a piece at the Jewett City Flea Market. The heck else did I buy? A couple of, a package of Craftsman drill bits with some of them missing for a couple bucks. They look like they're in really good shape. I'm always breaking the 1/8 inch bits off and the ones smaller than 1/8 inch. So you can never have too many small drill bits. And miscellaneous items that were not worth making a video for, and I did not make a video walking around Jewett City like we usually do, simply because there was a fair amount of vendors, but there's basically nothing there. The guy that I usually get the radios from doesn't have radios anymore. Last few times he's been there, his wife has been with him, and I don't know if it has anything to do with it, but he's got lamps and other things that don't interest me. Few old tools, no radios or electronics whatsoever. I asked him and he says he hasn't been getting it, so I don't know what the story is there, but other than that drill press which I bought from him last week, there's nothing. And the vendors just didn't have the stuff of interest. We just didn't have it, so it wasn't worth going. But it was some way to get out, because there is no yard sales in this area. As a matter of fact, I doubt there's any yard sales in Connecticut. There probably, I'm not saying, I shouldn't really say that, there probably is, but nothing in a 5 or 10 mile radius of where I live. So Jewett City is the only show in town, so to speak. All right, let's take you over to the other side here. Okay, you remember this. I got 2 coats of paint on this. This is dry to the touch. It's pretty well hardened up, I guess. It's oil-based. Both sides are covered. We got a big dilemma here. The dilemma is that I'm not going to be able to get this in there like I want, not because the enclosure is too small. The reason being, and I'll show you, is I've got tar paper in there standing on end when I did the shed roof, and I got a partial roll of rolled roofing in there, and there is no other place for it. Let me take you over here. Okay, in part 1, I drew out this, put the 2x4 in here, and braced it up and ready to cut this out. I hesitated cutting it out because I had to get the paint. I bought the paint yesterday. They had it in stock. However, the idea of shoving that thing in on the vertical and putting rollers in it and everything is going to have to be scrapped, because I have no place to put the rolled roofing, which I'm going to show you right now. Okay, this is what I'm up against. The one on the left up there is a partial roll of rolled roofing, which is pretty crappy stuff, and all the granules are almost totally off of it. I tried to get something on sale at Home Depot a few years back when I did the roof of the shed, the shop, and I did the whole roof. This here is 15-pound felt and 30-pound felt. There's 3 rolls in there. You could probably see it. It's a little dark, but I think you can see it. And then this one right here is leftover rolled roofing for the shed. But if I have to do the shed again, I'm going to have to buy the whole shebang. And at my age, it's getting hard for my knees to go up and down the ladder, especially down. I have a problem going downstairs, not so much going up. I do have problems going up, and I have to hold on to railings when I go, like the Jewett City, climb on the first deck and on the second deck. There's 2 floors over there. This is a small sample of rolled roofing, a very small roll. So the generator, I'll show you the cubicle that I'm working on the last few days off camera, to put this and take it out of here and put it in here. It looks a little different. We'll discuss that in a minute. At the far end, you can see I laid a board and glued it and nailed it so that when I cut out that opening, that'll become the door. The problem is that ramp is exactly 48 inches long. This is the end of that ramp. It's just stored here. Okay? That is 24 inches long, because that's the width of the ramp. The ramp is actually 25 inches wide. In order for me to slide that in here, I got to remove all this rolled roofing. And it's quite tall. It's 36 inches to be exact, the longest one. I got no place for it. I cannot put that ramp in here with these here. So we may have to scrap that idea, and that is the reason why I'm holding off on cutting that opening. It was a good idea, but it's not going to work. Before we get on the subject, you see this yellow cord? This is 12.3 with ground. It's 100 feet. I bought that at a yard sale about 5-6 years ago. It was covered black with fungi. You can't get Clorox cleaner with bleach. You cannot buy it anywhere. There is nobody that sells it. So I had to pay $8 for this stuff, and I sprayed that cord, and it took a little bit of fungus off of it. So anybody tells you bleach don't work, don't know what they're talking about, because I took this bottle, which was empty. This was from my wife's spray and wash bottle. It was empty, so I put 50%. Actually, I put half and half bleach, half water in this bottle, and it cleaned it up beautifully. On the back side, I couldn't get it because I didn't take it down. So I got to find a home for that cord also. It's been sitting here since I bought it, and I just have no room for it. But you can see how high this is in here, inside. Plenty of height for these here. Okay, let's go over to the other side, and I'll show you what I've done on the other side to prepare that for this generator. Okay, what I did yesterday, well actually, I started this a couple days ago. If you remember this, we had 2 black handles here, and there were 2 separate doors. Okay, I spent more time on this thing here than if I had taken it all apart and built it completely new. But that would mean I'd have to buy a lot of wood. I try to save money, and sometimes it don't work out and you end up putting 10 times the work into it, the time, and to get things to fit right. You know me, I don't throw wood away. I save every piece as long as it's not rotted. Even this here. Now temporarily I put this on. Paint is a little sticky. I put a handle on here and I just sprayed it. I had some of that red primer because that's all I had. Okay. Now, I made one door out of this. What I did is I removed the 2 hinges on this side because it's open like this. And there's 2 hinges here, and I put a 3rd one in the middle, which I took off of here. So it's one door connected together with a piece of plywood that I had on hand. On the inside, can you get a view of that, Tom? Can you get that in camera?
There we go.
Okay. So I union these 2 together with number 6 nails, galvanized, and a thinner piece, 3/8 inch piece, because that's all I had on this side. But before I did that, I put 1/4 inch hardware cloth in, keep the mice out. There was never a problem before if mice got in here because there was nothing in here that they could bother with. I had bottles of water in here. But now that the park owner's got a generator, I can probably eliminate the water. And that will save a lot of problems. So it's not a good job at all. I couldn't find my power planer, my Ryobi power planer. It's buried in the shed, so I had to take a skill saw and chop it, and I chopped too much out of here. Looks horrible. Okay, so let's see if this will stay open. There's plenty of room. My idea is to get rid of the partition. That's why I eliminated having 2 doors open like that, because this partition was in the way. There's plenty of support here because this is a 2x4 going across here. That's not going anywhere, okay? Because when I build something, I build it like I've always built it, a lot stronger than it has to be. Okay, most of the time. Sometimes I have to, if I don't have enough money, which is nothing new with me, I have to skimp. Okay, and so I had to fight around with this door, so I didn't have to go and rebuild it. I should have rebuilt it. Then I wouldn't need to put a threshold in here, because making these doors one piece left me with a flush to the bottom here, so no mice can get under it. It left me with a 3/4 inch space over here. It didn't go down low enough, because the door is not perfectly square. But then again, this is it's not a house, it's not a piece of furniture. That's the way it is. So we had to jury rig a lot of things up. I had a scrap piece of wood here, because again, I didn't want to keep going out to Home Depot, because you can't get bargain woods. As I said, they do not have it, they throw it away. Except for split 2x4s, 2x6s, and sometimes 2x8s. Split down the middle, those are in the bargain bin. You will never get plywood in either one of these Home Depots in my area. They just don't have it. So, what I had to do here, you can see this video is going to be quite long, and I told Tommy to record it in 720p. Okay, we got a good tight fit up on the top here, but your mice ain't going to be climbing up in through here anyways. But down here, I can take my index finger and stick it in here, but no mice can get through here simply because I put this in here. I didn't want to do this because that generator is fairly heavy, and I have to lift it up because it's got 4 spring feet on it, little pads on the bottom, and you got to lift it over to get it onto this. You can't just slide it off and carry it. You got to lift it up and over, lift it up and over. I didn't want to do this, but that's what you do if you know. If I had it to do over again, I'd do it all over you. That's an old saying. Never mind. Anyways, if I had it to do over again, I would build it to fit here. It would be a frame with 2x4s. Well, this is 2x4s, and there'd be 2x3s on the top, bottom, similar to this, but it would be made nice and square to fit this. But it's done. Okay, now we got to get in close, so I'm going to have to hand hold the camera. Now you see the door, I got it so that it opens completely, so there's a maximum width here. Oh, my knees. All right, I took out the center support, which was in this opening here, and I closed it in. I had to notch out here and put this little rubber tube in here, piece of hose, to allow for this. Okay? Now, I could have added a shim under here, but I'd have to take the door back off again, so that the bottom of this side of the door, which would be the right side, the part without the hinge, would be almost dragging on the sill, and I wouldn't need the threshold. But I'm not going to go through all that, okay? If I'm going to do that, I might as well build the thing, start over again. Okay, you're telling me, I can hear you out there, get to the point. Well, don't speed my video up. Here is the vent for the air for the generator. Originally, when I built the gen house was a standalone, and this was just an empty spot to put trash cans before I used this for the trash cans. So I added this, but as you can see inside, it's not quite as high, if you look here, as this one. However, there's plenty of height for those rolls to go in here if it wasn't for this shelf, which I'm not going to remove. It's in there pretty damn good. It'd probably rip half the walls out getting it out. Because like I say, when I build it, it's in there to stay. And a lot of times I'll use screws, not nails. So, in order to get more air intake in the generator, I was thinking of taking this out, putting it away, where I don't know, and putting some hardware cloth over here, just in case mice do get in here. This is pretty tight now. It's sealed up here, jury rig, pieced here, pieced there. That's the way I do it sometimes. I wouldn't do that in my own house, but this isn't a house. You're not going to be living in here. This is just a storage area for the shed. Here is the number 9 paint. Number 9 right there. They were out of it. You can't touch redwood stain under $27. This is $10. And it does just as good. I call it watercolor. But that's what I use on here. Alright, so today, off camera, because this is a show and tell, this is temporary. I put this in yesterday. I make my own turnbuckles. I got a draw bolt, a small draw bolt that's going to be mounted down here. I need to hold this bottom in real tight so I want it down here. If I put it up here, there's still a little movement on the door here. Not enough for a mouse to get in. Any space, a half inch, I find a half inch hard to believe. I would say more of an inch. But if you can get your pinky through it, your index finger rather, through a hole, a baby mouse can get through. The 1/4 inch hardware cloth, which is here, no way a mouse is going to get through. Ant, yes. Mouse, no. Okay, I bought some DAP Quick Seal. It's almond. And on these sides, where the boards don't come together, there's a gap in there. I'm going to fill that in. I can't paint until the cork dries. Okay, so we're gonna cork all around here. And to tell you the truth, I can get my pinky in here, but I don't think a mouse can get through. I hope I got enough. Today being Monday, Labor Day, my hardware store is closed. But I could have got it at the Home Depot, and I may still do that. Okay, so we're gonna cork off camera. Before we cork, I got a little drill bolt which I sprayed with the red primer because it's regular steel, it's zinc plated steel, and it'll get rusty. And close this just to hold it. That'll come out, that's temporary. Now, when this is held in tight up here, no mice can get through. There's a gap here. This is what I mean. I couldn't find my planer, my electric planer. It's in there. I get so aggravated. I got so much junk in the damn shed. So it looks like hell. Big space. This bothers me. I don't like seeing this. You know. And if I had the money and the time and and everything else, I'd rip it all out and build another door. But I'm not going to do that. Okay. So if you hold this tight up here, you still got movement here, okay? So, what you want to do is have it down here. This is already tied up here, okay? With this is this is a little less than a 1/4 inch thick lure. 1/4 inch thick luan, which I spray painted. Now I'm flushed out. Okay. This is the draw bolt. She's going to go in like this. She's going in like that. And the other piece is right here. It will go like that. Alright, this will be... So what we've got is this flush situation here. Alright? Now, I painted this so that hopefully it won't delaminate, because this stuff here is terrible when it gets wet. And when I'm all done with this, I'll paint it over with the number 9 to go over the top of it. This is oil-based paint on here, the primer. So that should keep this from delaminating. What I'm going to do is, I need to, like I say, I need to be here. All right? When I hold that tight, that's perfectly flush, okay? If I put it up here and hold it in, I still got movement here. In other words, a mouse can't get in here. I can't get my finger in there, all right? I can feel the threshold that I got, the furring strip, all right? So we're going to do all this off camera. And I'm making the videos too damn long, as always. I should have kept it at WVGA, but I told Tommy to do it in 720, so we'll be here for a few hours rendering it. Okay, so that's what I'm going to do there off camera. Just going to put some wood glue on here, tight bond, glue that on. I'll pre-nail 4 little brads, put that in, and then mount this. And it'll have to be mounted. There's a big gap here. a good 1/4 inch gap. But you want a gap, but a 1/4 inch, but it's, we got that other piece in there so no mice can get in. A 1/4 inch, a mouse ain't gonna get in a 1/4 inch. I don't even think it can get in a 1/2 inch. 3/4, yes. All right, that's it, folks. So Tommy's gonna put the edit this and do his thing. But you see, then I can remove this thing. We'll take that out. But right now, I'm gonna prepare this thing to mount it. And that's the story there. So, in closing, okay, folks, that's going to conclude it. All this other stuff with the caulking and putting the door bolt on, it's going to be all done off camera, of course. And I'm done with it. There isn't going to be any part 2 of this, unless I can find a place to put that rolled roofing. As you well know, you can't just take rolled roofing and tar paper and lay it down horizontally. It'll just get flattened out. And I've done that years ago, and all it is just a flattened roll like that, and it's junk. It cracks, splits, and I don't have a truck anymore, so I can't get rid of stuff like I used to. So it's going to have to stay in there because of that shelf that's in the other one, and I'm not taking the shelf out. There is no room to store that standing on end. And there is no room in the big shed, obviously. I can just about get my drill press that I bought last week in there. Alright, I guess we're all done for this. I just wanted to give you an update, let you know that at this time there is not going to be a part 2 of making something to store that in. So in closing, at this time, I'm afraid this is going to have to stay exactly where it is. I can get at it, it's a short distance if I need to get the generator out. Not a problem. And what we're going to do is we're going to turn this upside down, and we're going to keep a tarpaulin on it, and we're going to keep it on this table here, because my work table's over there, so it'll be kept with a tarpaulin on it, probably throughout the winter or whatever, and that'll be it, because there's no other place for it until I can figure out where to put that rolled roofing. I got too much of it to just throw it away, and again, I can't get rid of stuff. I don't have a truck, so that's the end of that. Thank you for watching. I hope you enjoyed this video. Thanks again.